If you've ever wondered what makes British food so special, you're about to discover that it's not just about taste, it's about history, culture, and stories that go back hundreds of years. Every traditional British dish carries a legacy, something that has been passed down through generations, shaped by the people, the weather, and the lifestyle of the United Kingdom. From meals that were created during the Industrial Revolution to comfort foods enjoyed during cozy rainy evenings, British cuisine is much more exciting than many people imagine. So if you're planning a trip to the UK, or even if you just love exploring food from around the world, get ready because today we're diving deep into some of the most iconic and beloved foods you absolutely need to try. Let's start with something sweet and unforgettable, sticky toffee pudding. This dessert is the definition of comfort food in Britain, rich, warm, and completely indulgent. Imagine a soft sponge cake, incredibly moist, made with finely chopped dates that melt into the texture, giving it a deep natural sweetness. Then comes the magic, a thick, buttery toffee sauce poured generously over the top, soaking into every bite. It's often served with creamy vanilla custard or a scoop of vanilla ice cream that slowly melts into the warm pudding, creating a perfect balance of hot and cold. This dessert has become a staple in British restaurants and homes, especially during colder months when people crave something warm and satisfying. Even though it feels like a centuries-old recipe, sticky toffee pudding actually became widely popular in the 20th century, and since then it has taken over dessert menus across the country. Moving into something more hearty, we have the famous Lancashire hot pot. This dish tells the story of hard-working communities during the 19th century, particularly in the industrial regions of northwest England. Back when people worked long hours in cotton mills, they needed meals that were filling, affordable, and easy to prepare. Lancashire hot pot was the perfect answer. It's a slow-cooked stew made with tender lamb or mutton, combined with onions and topped with thinly sliced potatoes. Everything is cooked together in a heavy pot over low heat, allowing the flavors to blend beautifully. The potatoes on top become golden and slightly crispy, while the meat underneath turns incredibly soft and juicy. This is the kind of dish that warms you from the inside out, and even today it remains a beloved comfort meal in British households. Now let's talk about something that might look simple but is deeply loved, the crumpet. Crumpets are a classic part of British tea culture, often enjoyed during afternoon tea or as a light snack. At first glance, they might just look like small round breads, but what makes them special is their texture. The batter is made with yeast, which creates those signature tiny holes on the surface. When you toast a crumpet and spread butter on top, it melts right into those holes, creating a soft, spongy, and slightly crispy bite. Add some jam or honey, and you've got a treat that's simple yet incredibly satisfying. Crumpets have been part of British life for centuries, and they perfectly represent the country's love for tea-time traditions. As we move further into classic British cuisine, we come across steak and kidney pie, a dish that might sound unusual to some but is deeply rooted in British food culture. This savory pie is filled with a rich mixture of diced beef, kidney, and onions, all cooked together in a thick, flavorful gravy. The filling is then enclosed in a flaky pastry crust that turns golden brown when baked. The combination of textures and flavors makes it incredibly satisfying, with the tender meat and rich sauce perfectly complementing the crisp pastry. This dish has been a staple for generations, often served in pubs and homes, especially during colder months when people crave something hearty and filling. Then there's the iconic Sunday roast, which is more than just a meal, it's a tradition. For many families in the UK, Sunday roast is a weekly ritual, a time when everyone gathers around the table to enjoy a comforting, home-cooked feast. The meal typically includes roasted meat such as beef, chicken, lamb, or pork, served alongside crispy roast potatoes, vegetables, and one very special addition, Yorkshire pudding. Everything is covered in rich gravy, bringing all the flavors together. Depending on the type of meat, you might also find apple sauce, mint sauce, or red currant jelly on the table. This tradition goes back centuries and remains one of the most cherished parts of British culture, representing family, togetherness, and comfort. Speaking of Yorkshire pudding, this dish deserves its own spotlight. Despite its name, it's not really a dessert but more of a side dish, though it can be enjoyed in different ways. It's made from a simple batter of eggs, flour, and milk, but when baked, it transforms into something magical. The outside becomes slightly crispy while the inside stays soft and airy. Traditionally, Yorkshire pudding is served alongside roast beef and gravy, but it can also be filled with savoury or even sweet ingredients. Its versatility is what makes it so popular, and it has been a part of British meals for centuries. Now imagine starting your day with a full English breakfast, one of the most famous breakfasts in the world. This is not your typical light morning meal, it's a full feast designed to keep you energized for hours. A traditional full English breakfast includes bacon, sausages, eggs, baked beans, grilled tomatoes, mushrooms, toast, and sometimes black pudding. It's often served with tea or coffee, making it a complete and satisfying start to the day. Different regions in the UK have their own variations, but the idea remains the same, a hearty and filling breakfast that reflects the country's love for substantial meals. Next up is bangers and mash, a dish that is simple yet incredibly comforting. The name itself is quite interesting, with bangers referring to sausages, a nickname that dates back to a time when sausages would sometimes burst while cooking due to high water content. These sausages are served with creamy mashed potatoes, and the whole dish is topped with rich onion gravy. It's often accompanied by peas or fried onions, adding extra flavor and texture. This dish is a favorite in pubs and homes alike, loved for its simplicity and satisfying taste. Then we have one of the most uniquely named dishes, toad in the hole. Despite the unusual name, this dish is a classic comfort food in England. It consists of sausages baked in a Yorkshire pudding batter, creating a combination that is both crispy and soft. As it cooks, the batter rises around the sausages, giving it a golden, fluffy texture. It's typically served with onion gravy and vegetables, making it a complete and hearty meal. This dish has been around for centuries and is a perfect example of how simple ingredients can be turned into something truly delicious. And finally, we arrive at the most iconic British dish of all, fish and chips. This is the food that people around the world instantly associate with the UK. It's a simple combination of battered and fried fish served with thick-cut chips, but the flavour is anything but simple. The fish is usually cod or haddock, coated in a light batter and fried until crispy on the outside while remaining soft and flaky inside. The chips are thick and hearty, often served with salt and vinegar. Traditionally, fish and chips are wrapped in paper and enjoyed as a takeaway meal, often by the seaside. This dish became popular in the 19th century and quickly became a national favourite, representing the perfect blend of different cultural influences. What makes British food so fascinating is how each dish reflects a piece of history. These are not just meals, they are stories of communities, traditions, and generations of people who created something meaningful out of simple ingredients. Whether it's a warm dessert like sticky toffee pudding, a hearty meal like Lancashire hot pot, or a classic takeaway like fish and chips, every bite carries a sense of heritage. So the next time you think about British cuisine, remember that it's much more than what you might expect. It's rich, comforting, and deeply rooted in culture. And if you ever get the chance to visit the UK, don't just see the sights, taste the history as well. Try these dishes, experience the flavors, and discover why they have stood the test of time. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these British foods would you love to try first, or which one is already your favorite?